Oh, hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Timbo Took, and this is A Joy of Painting Middle-earth, a time when we come together to paint the most fantastic landscapes Middle-earth has to offer. And maybe we'll paint a scary one a time or two. That can be quite fun, you know. Now, I may not be the best painter in the Shire, but I do love it so, and I'd love for you to paint right along with me. So, if you're ready, grab your paints and your brushes, and let's go on an adventure. Alright, welcome back to the Joy of Painting Middle-earth. Oh, I've been away for a bit, off on my own adventures, that's right, but now I'm back in the Hobbit hole and ready to paint. And most of my poison ivy is all healed up, so we can get back to painting again. Now, as you can see, we've got a canvas on here, and it's the Tallways. The last painting we did was the road that goes ever on and on. That's right, we painted that, and then we came back the next week, and we put Bilbo on that road, headed off to the Misty Mountains, looking for Rivendell and his friends the elves there. That's right. And that's what we're going to paint today. The Misty Mountains. That's right at the foot of the Misty Mountains when he gets there, on that road that goes ever on and on. So we've got our canvas prepared. And how did we prepare it? We put some of that magic white down. That's right, the magic white that Bob Ross the Blue taught us how to paint with. Oh, you know Bob Ross the Blue. He's the Blue Wizard. He used to come to the Shire once a week when I was just a boy, and he'd teach everybody how to paint. Now, we've got that magic white on there just a bit. You can see if you just test it. Get a little bit on your finger. And that's just perfect. So we're going to come and we're going to put a sky in. I've got my colors here. Phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, sap green, burnt umber, ivory black. Oh, and you can see it's a race. They're starting to run on me. I tell you what, I took some time off and my paints, they didn't get any drier. I got into some paints that want to be a problem to me. That's all right. I think that burnt sienna, that's the color we have there. That's going to be the problem today. But maybe that ivory black will. We'll teach it a lesson. We have cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, and of course titanium white. So we're going to come to this phthalo blue right now. Just load that up on our 2-inch brush. Just that big brush there. Now this is a very dark blue. But as we go in, we've got that white down and it's going to mix in. So we'll start at the corners, and that's where it'll be the darkest. There we go. But then we just mix it down with these crisscross strokes. And we don't have to come down too far. We're doing mountains today. There we are. We're doing mountains. And then if you just want to clean off that brush, just bring it across right down here. Oh, will this all be water down here? No, probably not. But we'll have some water. Some water at the foot of those mountains. There we go. Either way, we can just mix some yellow in there and turn it to green, and then it'll be grass. That's the way we do it. All right, so we've got this mixed in. There we go. Now, as we mix that down, we don't want to mix it completely together, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to a paper towel, and we've got that in our hand. Now, it looks like there's quite a bit of paint here, so we're just going to do this. We're just going to mix it in right here, just using that paper towel. There we go. So we're pulling some of that paint off as we do that. Pulling some of that off. And then we can come back, just toss that. Then we can just come back to our brush that had that blue on. And we just mix that down. Mix that together, there we go. Now let's wash off that brush. And we're going to wash that in odorless paint thinner. That's right, we have our bucket of odorless paint thinner here. Now we're painting in the Hobbit hole today, so we're not just going to beat the Sauron out of the brush and throw paint thinner everywhere. But I have a rubbish bin down here, so we're just going to beat the Sauron out of the brush down in the rubbish bin. There we go. Now, if this is your first time joining us, I thank you for being here, and I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button so you can go on all these adventures with us. Hit that notification to ring the bell. That's right. That's right. And give us a like while you're at it. That lets YouTube know, the Council of YouTube, know that others should see this too. All right. Now we've got that. Let's come and let's put in some clouds. Let's come to our titanium white, just load it up using the fan brush. We're just going to load that on there. And we're just going to come here and we're going to put some clouds in our sky. There we go. And just roll that in. These clouds are rolling along. Rolling along. There we go. Just bring these down. And we'll get some more there. Just bring these in if you have to. Clean off that brush. Beat the Sauron out of it and then come back and get some more. There we go. And we'll just come right here. We're going to have a lot of mountains today. So we're not going to spend too much time on all these clouds. There we are. Just flip that over. Maybe put one back there. There we go. So we have those, and those look kind of messy. Don't worry, don't worry. Clean off that brush. There we go. Mostly out of it. Mostly out of it. There we are. Now we're just going to come to a 1-inch brush. And we're just going to leave the top edge of that cloud. Just leave that, but just circle this in. Give it that misty cloud look right there on the bottom. There we are. And come up a little. Bring it down. There we go. Just little circles here. There we are. And as you do this, you don't want to squish it all down just to make it all one color. You want those colors to still be in there. Now just give that a quick clean there. All right. Now we're going to come to a clean and dry 2-inch brush. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lift those clouds like we're the breeze. So just with a light touch, that's just kind of giving it that blend together. There we go. And you get some of those stringy things coming up. Oh, that's all right. Bob Ross the Blue would show us you don't have to worry too much about those. So just with that light touch, then just dry it off. And now just lightly. There we go. And that does the job of just blurring those out a bit. There we are. All right. So that quickly we have our sky in there. All right, now we're going to make a mountain. We're just going to come to some of our titanium black, or not titanium black, some of our ivory black. And let's just pull up some of that blue we had, and maybe even some alizarin crimson. We'll just mix those in. That makes it so it's not just one solid color. Just mix them together. There we go. Flatten them out and just take a row of that, and we're going to we'll make this big mountain top come right up here, right up this way. Bring them down. Maybe there's another peak right in front of this guy. Comes right up that way. There we go. Just bring it down. We're just laying in the shape of the mountains right now. Just putting that in. This will come down this way. There we go. And maybe this comes back this way. And he goes off in the distance that way. There we go. Now just take that excess paint and push it right down into your canvas. There we go. Just leave that edge along the top. Oh, if you can. There we go. And just bring it down. There we are. Just bring that in. Now let's just set that down. We're just going to go take our 2-inch brush now. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull this mountain down into the painting. There we go. See that? Oh, yes. Just pull it this way and that. Oh, I took a little off the edge there. Got a little too close. You try not to do that. There we are. And this will come back down this way. So you see, you make it come right in front of that one. And bring this right here. Just pulling these mountains in. There we are. There we go. Now that's what we're going to do is we're going to just set that brush off to the side. All right, now we're going to put some details on these and we'll come back and we'll actually bring this right in front of that one when we do come back to it. So what we want is we're going to start with a shadow color. That's right. It's kind of a rock and kind of shadow. We're going to take this here. We'll take our mountain color that we mixed up. We'll put it right down here. And let's take some of our titanium white that we have. Mix it in with that. Oh, there you go. You can see. There we are. Now that's a very, very gray color. We don't want it to be just too gray. So we're going to try some of our burnt sienna in here. There we go. That's a good color there. Maybe a little more burnt sienna. So it gives us kind of that rocky gray, but also got the mountain color in there. Pull that out. Just cut across. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this very lightly. Just letting the paint break off your knife there. You'll see it. The canvas will grab it. And we're going to bring it this way. There we go. Do some on this side. There we are. Now let's put a little, maybe we'll put a little blue snow in there. Just some snow that's maybe in a little bit of shadow. So we're just taking some of our phthalo blue, mixing it in with some of our titanium white here. And we're just going to come right back over this. We're just going to give this little bit of that snow on there. So you see that That brown you put down that peeks out underneath. Right there. Right there. There we go. Now let's come back just to some titanium white. Mix that up kind of with the colors we have in it already, but this should be a brighter white on this side. There we go. And let's straighten that edge up some. There we are. It'll come right over this way. Now we'll put it on this side. Here we go. Just let that mountain grab it. Just bring it right down. There we go. There we are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tap out some of this bottom here. These are the Misty Mountains. So this is just a brush. I had a little bit of our liquid magic white on there. This is just going to give us some mist at the base, right at the bottom there. Just tap that out. If you have to, put a big old hobbit foot right on the canvas. Now, I'm going to take one of my favorite brushes. So it's a blender brush. It's a very soft brush, and we're just going to turn that into some mist. There we go. Just lightly touching. That just gives us some mist there. There we go. You see how that mixes together? All right, just set that over to the side. There we go. Now we're going to come back, and this mountain is going to come, like I said, it's going to come right in front of that other one. So let's come back to our color here, our mountain color. We'll just bring that in. And you see that just pushes those mountains back even further. Now it's a little blue underneath there, so we don't want that much blue showing through. So we're just going to take just that mountain color and we're going to just push it right into the canvas. See that? You can just use your palette knife just to kind of paint that on. Now let's come. We're going to wash off one of our 2-inch brushes that we have here. Now we've got that clean, dry 2-inch brush, and we're just going to pull this mountain down this way. There we go. Just pull it out. There we are. All right. We haven't even put any trees in here yet. We're still working on our mountains. Let's come and let's make that mountain color down here. That light, well, kind of reddish brown here. We're going to put in some details on this guy. So with that color just on there, just bring it down. There we go. Just let the color work right off your palette knife. And you let those colors just come through. Just let the painting and the canvas decide where it's going to grab, where it's going to leave the paint. Now, the stiffer the paint is, the better and easier these mountains are to make. So my paints that I've been using lately, these are not the stiffest of paints. They're a little loose. But that's okay. You got to be used to working with both. You have to work with different types to figure out which works best for you. There we go. Now we'll put a little bit of snow in there. That's right. We're going to clean off our palette knife. There we go. Now with that clean palette knife, let's just go to some of our snow. There we are. Just bring it right down. Oh, the canvas, it's giving the paint back. It's not letting it lay down. There we are. There we are. And that's what happens when your paint's a little too loose, a little too wet. Of course, we're using the wet on wet technique, but it's still but that's okay. We'll just make some cliffs out of this. There we go. Just mix that down. And when you step back, when you're painting, you have to remember to step back and take a look. And you see what you're putting down and where you're putting it. It looks different when you're closer. When you're closer up to it, it looks a little different than when you take a step back. And most people are going to be viewing your painting from a few feet away. They're not going to be standing right up here looking at it. And if they do, oh, they'll see everything they want to see. There we go. Oh, I don't know what I did there, but I got paint splattered all over. That's okay. That's okay. We'll just maybe put another peak in right here. Oh, look at that. Look at him just jumping right in front of everybody. Cutting in line. That's what he did. Oh, that peak just cut in line right there. Right there said, oh, I'm coming in right here. Sometimes we don't even plan anything. We just touch the canvas with our paint and see what happens. There we are. Just set him down. Come back here and we'll just see. He just rolls this way. Look at that. And maybe we got some back here too. Let's take that, this guy right here. Our blender brush, as we did before. Let's just blend some of this out. There we go. Oh, I'm picking more up than I should be. That's okay, that's okay. We'll see where we go from here. Now old Mr. Bilbo, he would find a path through these mountains to get to Rivendell. Oh, to visit his old friends, the elves. That's right, that's right. Oh, we're just doing mountains for days, aren't we? Just bringing some mountains down this way and that. There we go. And our friend old Mr. Bilbo, he used to take these paths. Go see his elf friends in Rivendell. Oh, these days. Oh, you'd be lucky to find an elf in Middle-earth. There's still a few, though. There's still a few. All right. Let's come. Just mixing a little titanium white in with that, that brown we had there. And let's just put some more of this rock face on. There we go. And we're just going to grab some of that darker color for back on this side. There we are. There we go. And come back here. There we are. Just put some of this in. Just let that break off the knife. And just going to wipe some of that off. Come up here. Take some of that titanium white. And we'll just put some snow on this face. There we go. Now as these mountains come lower, there's not as much snow in there, so we don't have to worry about bringing it all the way down. It's just these little peaks up here. There we are. Come back this way. There we go. And just mixing in more of that burnt sienna. That's our paint that wants to run away from us, so we just put this in. This is as the altitude is getting lower. The rock is getting a little more red. There's not as much snow feeding into that. There we go. Just making some cliffs and things there. And I think it's time to start putting in some... Oh, we need some trees. We haven't painted some trees yet. Let's come... Oh, let's see. We're going to go in with this little fan brush. But before we do that, let's give this mountain a little mist. We want to give it what it's known for. Some of that mist. in the Misty Mountains. There we go. Just roll that in and you can see why they get their name, the Misty Mountains. And you have that magic white underneath that just rolls up right into it. And you can even tap that in. Tap it in, tap it in. There we go. And then just roll it out. Knock some of the color off. Come back. There we go. One more time. There we are. There we go. All right, let's just set that to the side. Now we're going to come in. We're going to make some of our sap green here. Oh, we're going to darken it up a bit. Go with a dark green, just using our rocky color. And we'll come in and we're just going to put some trees in right back here. Maybe we want to go with a bigger fan brush. We'll be there all day long. Oh, that's right. We'll be there all day long. Darken that up. That green will come through. That green will come through. And we're just following this as if it's on a hill over here. Maybe a tree comes up higher. Some come up higher than others. You just don't want it to look like fence posts. There we go. So we just drop in very quickly. We're dropping in all these trees. And you just bounce your brush right off the canvas. And that'll give you lots of branches and things that are going on. There we go. This comes right down this way. Trees, there's lots of those evergreen trees right on the side of this mountain. So you just bring those in. There we are. There we go. And let's give some on this other side too. Right over this way. And you can see, just using this fan brush and just tapping it up and down here, you're making all these trees just come into the picture. Just bring it back around that way. Give some separation there. Come in. Darken it up and come right on this front right here. There we go. Now just take, maybe a 1-inch brush and right down here at the bottom, just tap this out. Just tap that out. You're making right at the bottom. You're just pulling those together. There we go. There we are. Do the same on this side. And what that's doing, as you look off into the distance, as you look off and you see the atmosphere, you see that right in the trees there. You can see the tops but you can't see all the details as you come lower. There we go. All right, now as we come down, oh, there might be some of that rock peeking through here. So, oh, maybe right about here, some of that rock comes in. There we go. Now I can feel how loose that burnt umber is. So it's not the best paint to use because it's so liquidy, so loose. A thick paint, a stiffer paint, that would be more ideal. But we just put that in for now. We work with what we got. And we're going to come and we're going to, oh, let's wash off our fan brush real quick. Now what we're going to do, now we're going to come and we're going to go more on the green side. A little bit of dark, but mostly green. That way these will stand out from the ones that you have back there. There we go. These ones will march right down. We're going to say we're going to have a lake. We're just going to put in some grass here. There we go. That grass is going to come right up onto there. That'll come down this way. We'll do the same on this side. Just bring that in there. There we go. And I probably could have done that with a bigger brush rather than a fan brush. That can take all day, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's maybe grab a little bit of that cadmium yellow. That's what that is. That cadmium yellow. Let's mix that in. Just give a little brighter green there. And let's come back this way. And if you have to thin that down just to get it to stick, that might be what you have to do. Depends on the thickness of your paint. Just using a bit of paint thinner, I thin that down a bit. There we go. Now, might go back to a dark one here and there and just give it a little more detail. Come bring it out. There we go. Zigzag that in. So come back to a little bit of that dark green that you have, and let's just put this in. Put a line in. Oh, that's a little thick. That one was a little thick. Oh, kind of like Timbo after he had been on vacation. I came back a little thicker than I started. Oh, indeed I did. Indeed I did. But we can put some of those trees in. There we go. Just zigzag those down. There we are. Just have a few here and there. Those taller trees. Just get those popping out. Right there. Just zigzag that back and forth. There we go. There we go. Now, what we want to do is we're going to take some yellow ochre and some of our burnt umber, maybe a little bit of titanium white. There we go. Now we're just going to give this a bit of a shoreline here. We're just going to put in some rocks and things and some dirt, and that goes this way and that. Oh, and it comes in right there. There we go. Just give that a bit of a shoreline. There we go. Now, we want to bring some of this color down into our water. So what we do is we're just going to bring some of it in and just pull it down this way. Should have done that before we put the shore in, but that's okay. Sometimes if you're following along but you're not quite to this point, don't put this in yet. Let's pull our trees down for the reflection and then come back with that. But that's okay if you did that already. We just do our best. And the same on this side. Just pull these down. And one thing, you want to give a little color variation in there. So come back to your dark, and maybe not that dark. I thought I was in some of the green and it was more of just the black, but that's okay. Maybe there's some brown in there. So you just vary those colors out. More green. You just don't want it all one flat color. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come to a clean, dry 2-inch brush. And we're going to pull that down just a little bit more. Just blending that together some. There we go. Now, with that brush, we're just going to pull it across. And you see how that creates that reflection in our water. There we are. Now we can do a couple more things. And we have that 2-inch brush. Let's just fill in, let's come in with some of this. Just fill up that 2-inch brush with just some dark green there. Oh, we can just fill this in here. There we go. Just taking out. There we are. And we can bring this down this way. Just put in some land down here. This side too. There we are. Now, if you want to even highlight some of that grass, just come down to some of our yellow. Just mix that on. And let's just put in and let's clean off that brush. It's kind of globbing together. Our yellow was probably the stiffest color that we had. That was probably the best one that I had on my palette today, and I barely used it. There we go. Oh, now let's just frame this out a little bit. Let's give it a big tree or two on the side here. Just frame that out. So we're going to come some of our titanium, I keep calling the black titanium. That's the opposite. Some of our ivory black. We'll go into some of our green there, that sap green. Get a nice dark color, and we're going to put, oh, we won't make our tree too tall today, just because this paint is so thick and there's so much on there. I'm just going to start right here and come right down this way. There we go. Once we got that in, just come back to the top, and we're just going to zigzag here. Just putting in, there we go. Just pressing harder as you come down, and you see there's some green on there. I'm picking up a lot of paint off the canvas. That's right. Today was a bit of a messy day. But, as I said, I've been off adventuring. I tried to do a little painting while I was out, but, oh, I didn't have quite enough time. There we go. And just put that in as we come down. Oh, maybe we want another one. Another one right here. Just bring that back and forth. There we go. Just putting that in. It'll come right down this way. There we are. There we go. Now we'll do the same on the other side. We'll go up a little higher with this guy. Right here. We'll bring him down. And just zigzag them back and forth. There we go. But that should be highlighted a little bit. So let's clean our brush. Now let's come down. Before we do any of that, let's put a tree trunk in there. Just grab that. There we go. Now, your tree trunk, you don't have to see it all the way down, because some of it's going to be hidden in with the leaves. There we go. And we'll do one on this side. There we are. And maybe a little more of him. There we are. Now that we've got that done, let's come to a lighter green color. We're gonna... This is going to be going on. We have to thin it out so it'll stick because that paint underneath is a thick paint. Some of it not too thick. But we're just gonna come and we're just gonna put these highlights in. Right over here as well. That is right. This is... Need to thin that out some. Our paints weren't playing too well today, but that's okay. There we go. Just highlight them there. Come over to this guy, the same thing. Just there we go. Now, one last thing to do. I've put some liquid white right on my palette knife, and now we're going to come in and we're going to give this a shoreline here. Just pull that straight across. Just cut that in. There we are. And if you just want to put just a spot here and there on your water, that just gives it that appearance that the water might be moving. There we go. Well, there. Well, the Misty Mountains, where Mr. Bilbo would come to, and he'd see that, and he'd know, oh, I've got to go through that and find my friends, the elves in Rivendell. Oh, what a fun painting. That's a fun one. I hope you like that today, painting the mountains and putting a little mountain lake in there. Now, thank you for joining me once again. I'll see you next time on The Joy of Painting Middle-earth. Goodbye and God bless.